my channel's What Beck Sews. Welcome back if you're a subscriber, and welcome if you're new. Today's vlog is all about my year in sewing. So that's the 2024 annual review of what I've made. I thought I'd bring this to you in between, you know, that period that we all don't know what we're doing between Christmas and New Year. I've been sitting here thinking about what I've made up, what I want to make up in the coming year, looking at my Make 9 review, all of this sort of stuff, and I just thought, you know what, I'm just going to make a film and share it all with you. Now, I have made over 63 garments this year, so I'm not going to show you everything individually, but I have pulled together a little slideshow, technical term there, of everything that I have pictures of that I've made that I will slot in between this, and then I'll also share with you everything that I've done from a sewing related event as well at the end of the vlog. So all of the wonderful friends and people that I have got to meet over the past 365 days and spend time with, because let's face it, the sewing community is a wonderful community. So I thought I'd start with what I'm wearing, because what I'm actually wearing is a brand new make. I finished this on Saturday, so I got this done just in time before the year ends. This is the Amari jumper by Seamwork. Now, I shared that I wanted to make this up a little while ago. It's got a sort of zip up here, so you can have it open if you want to, like that. I might actually leave it like that for the time being. It's got a yoke here and a yoke on the back, but it is really simple and straightforward to pull together. It's got elasticated cuffs to it. Now, when I shared this, I think I shared this months ago, that I wanted to make this up just as we were coming into the cooler months, and somebody had said to me, it's really oversized, so size down. And what I did was look at the finished garment measurements, and it is really oversized, and the finished garment measurements actually reflect that really well. So I made up a size 8. Now, my body measurements should have put me in a size 14, but I sized down to a size 8, and I think it gives me still enough room that it goes over my hips but fits me nice and comfortably. And you can see you've got the yoke here, you've got the zip here, and it's just, it really is lovely. Now, this fabric I got, it's a fleecy fabric. I got it from a stand at the Stitch Festival. I can't remember what it's called. I'd never seen them before, but they had 2 different colorways of this, and I thought this would be the one that would suit me the most because it's got quite vivid black patches on it. But I love anything that's borderline animal print. As you can see, I've got cow print behind me. So that is what I'm wearing. It will probably be the final finished make of 2024 as well. So what I thought I'd do is pop in here a compilation of everything that I've made up across 2024, including what they are. I have labelled them all for you. Unfortunately, the photos are all in portrait, but it's the only way I could do this. And then I'll come back and I'll talk through the Instagram favourites and some of my favourites, and then some of the disasters of the year. There is clearly a pattern house that I love, Tilly and the Buttons. When I did this compilation and pulled this together and looked back at everything I've made, Tilly and the Buttons was by far my most common pattern house used. In fact, I felt like when I was popping the names and the titles of everything I made in, it was like I'd go Friday Pattern Company, then Tilly and the Buttons, Nina Lee, then Tilly and the Buttons, Tilly and the Buttons, Tilly and the Buttons, and then, you know, and it just literally felt like that all the way through. Now, I think that Tilly is always going to be one of my favourites. I have most of her patterns, all of her books, and also they are really simple and her instructions are great. But I did sort of branch out this year. I made a few other things, and we're going to start by talking about the Instagram favourite, and this was a completely different pattern house. This is the Style Arc Bell Dress. Now, I think that one of the reasons this was an Instagram favourite is because it was made in a beautiful Lady McElroy fabric. And it is a beautiful Lady McElroy fabric. It is a nightmare to work with. It's one of their viscose chalets, but it did pull together a very pretty dress. Now, because I've packed all of my summer clothes away, I don't have this to hand, but I'm going to pop a picture in here, or a few pictures that I can find, to show you which one is the clear winner. This was actually the second Style Arc Bell dress that I made this year. This one was made for a special occasion. It was made for a friend's 60th birthday when we were over in Benidorm in June of 2024. I am filming this in 2024. That feels strange saying that. Sorry, guys. So yeah, I loved this. I wore this to that event, but I've worn it to quite a few different sort of either nice dinners, barbecues, not fancy parties, but it's just that kind of dress that you feel elevated, but not too elevated in. And I just love the fabric. I love the way that this fits and complements my shape. The shearing on the back is what brings it in nicely. And I have made another one, but the other one that I made wasn't so much of a success as this one. Now, I have got this one down here to show you. This is the other one that I made. Now, the reason this isn't a success was I hadn't put in the elastic on this part here, which I need to go back in and do, and I threatened to do a few times. And this one was made for a winter wedding that we weren't taking part in, but we were in work. This is also made in a cotton fabric, which is not a fabric I tend to make many things in, but it does work really well with the structure of this dress. Now, obviously on the hanger, it doesn't look that great. And I don't think I've even got a picture of me in this. Now, everybody I know at the Sewing Social actually tried this on. Now, the colours do really suit me, so this should suit me really well. And I think one of my goals this year is to go back in and put an elastic in this particular cuff, and then it will get that bit of wear that I want it to. I also went for the shorter version on this one, whereas the other one I went for the slightly longer version. I don't know if that contributes to it, but I do love this. And I put an extra button because it is so revealing in. It's got all my Jazz and Wow. In fact, both of them have got this style of button from Jazz and Wow on, just in the colours that match the particular garment. And I do really, really love this. So I just need to sort out the arms so this becomes more of a success and actually gets more worn this year. So yeah, that's the Style Arc Bell dress. And obviously the summer version was your favourite on Instagram by an absolute mile. The other one that seemed to be a favourite over on Instagram was my Nina Lee Holland Park dress. Now, this wasn't the one that I wore for Scottish Frocktails. This was actually the one that I made in the summer out of a gorgeous leafy fabric that I got from Abercarn Fabrics. Again, not one that I've got here that I can show you, but I'll pop some pictures in here so you can see. This is beautiful, and I have to say I felt beautiful in this dress. It was just, again, another one that complements my shape. I am definitely somebody that suits a shape that pulls in just under the bust, so like more like your empire line rather than your waistline, and then just sort of gently skims over the rest of the body. Fit and flare also really suits, but basically anything that pulls me in and gives me that hourglass shape, I think tends to suit me really well. I'm not a massive fan of anything too oversized. This particular dress here, I made as I fell in love with the dress. I really wanted to give it a go. And to be honest with you, I would have made several of these if I could have done. The elastic channels were an absolute nightmare. My hands really struggled when poking through the elastic in these because they're so narrow. And actually on this particular version, the elastic sits just a little bit too high. It's not going to stop me wearing it. But then when I went on to make another version of this in the winter, or just as we came out of summer, I sort of lengthened it by 1/2 inch and it just sorted that problem out. But this is going to be a firm summer dress in my wardrobe that will get worn time and time again. I do absolutely love it, and I'm so pleased that I made this dress. Now, I did make a second version of this, and I made a slightly different version, which is actually my favourite dress of the year that I have made, and probably one of the most worn dresses. I wear this out for date night quite a lot, basically. It just fits the bill for that. I've worn it out for dinner with friends. It's just, again, another very fancy dress that's not too fancy, that I can dress up or dress down. I could wear this to work. I don't want to wear it to work because once it goes to work, it never will come out of that work dress phase. But this is the other version that I made. So this is a sort of poly satin that I got from Rainbow Fabrics, and you can see it's got almost like a leopard print sheen in it. These beautiful flowers just complement the dress, and it's got that extra bit of length on it, so it fits me perfectly under the bust and just gives me a great shape. I love the elasticated neckline. It kind of comes across the bust in a way that I really do like. And the thing that I did different with this one, that is very different from the pattern and the way that the pattern does it, you have the option for long sleeves, but on the pattern, it gives you elastic channels in the arm to stick in. And I just thought I didn't really want that. It also gives you an elastic channel to have a frill on the end of the sleeve. And I'm not really a frill kind of girl, so I just popped elastic in the bottom. And actually, I love the way that the sleeve billows and it fits, and it just kind of drapes over the sleeve, over the elastic on me when I'm wearing it. It feels very boho and very chic. And I have to say, this is just one of my favourite dresses that I made last year. It's very feminine, very girly, not unlike the summer version of this, but this has just made it to more date nights. This has just been worn a lot more, and I think that's because of the longer sleeve on it, that it just feels like it's that kind of perfect fit and style for me, because I quite like a boho look, but I've got to get boho right, because if I go too boho, it doesn't work for me. Now I'm just waffling. So let's move on to the next one. So another dress that I absolutely loved this year that I wanted to talk about is my Tilly and the Buttons Mabel dress. Now, this unfortunately is not ironed at all. I have not worn this in the winter because it's quite a thin dress, but it is a winter dress. I need to kind of make a plain black cardi to go over it so I can get the wear out of it. Now, frustratingly, this fabric has faded. This was a fabric, a viscose, I think it was a viscose, I want to say it's a viscose twill or something. No, it's not. It's an Eco Vero viscose. That's what it is. And this came from Guthrie Ghani, and it's absolutely gorgeous. It was in a few other shops, but I bought mine from Guthrie Ghani. Now, I love the Mabel. The Mabel is has got this beautiful shearing, again, coming in just under the bust, so giving me that shape that I like. It's got these gorgeous billowy arms, and you also have, it's tucked under because it needs ironing, but you also have a gorgeous sheared cuff as well that just gives an extra shape to it. The arms look quite interesting when they're being constructed on this particular pattern. You've got a faux tie here to pull in, so it looks like you've got like a nice little peephole gap there. And again, you've got elastic down across the top and through those channels. The dress can be drafted to whatever length you want it. Tilly gives some recommendations on there. Mine is just below the knee because that's the way I prefer it. I will pop some pictures in for you to see, but because it's an Eco Vero viscose, it's one of those that kind of fades a little bit, and I'm finding that I'm probably not going to get much more wear out of this, and it's only been worn sort of probably about 10 times. I don't think that's that many in the grand scheme of things, but because I will wash something once I wear it, yeah, it's just fading. I'm not even tumble drying it. I'm being really, really good, and I am one of those that likes to tumble dry her fabrics. So Yeah. So that's the Mabel by Tilly and the Buttons. Now, I would say that one was a success, but one of my fails for this year is another beautiful Mabel that I made and that seemed to be well liked and loved on Instagram, but I'm not a fan. So I'll pop it in here. This is the top version. Now, this was made out of this gorgeous double gauze, and this it was white and it's got strawberries on it, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful fabric. And it's one of those that I regret turning into this, because for me, this was fabric that didn't suit the pattern on me. Now, double gauze fabric is gorgeous to wear. It's one of those that you can wear all year round. In the summer, it's nice and cool. In the winter, it's nice and warm. It feels lovely. And this particular one, absolutely stunning. But because it's double gauze, it does hold its shape. And I think for me, having that kind of peplum bottom on a top makes me feel really big, because not only is it white, which is a colour that we all know can be quite it's not as slewing as black, let's put it that way. I just feel, as much as I love this top, it's not right on me, and I wish I'd used this fabric for something else, because I do adore the fabric. I still love the Mabel pattern, and I think the Mabel for me is one that I make in a viscose, and I can see many more in my future, just not in double gauze. Or if I'm going to use double gauze, I use a dress pattern for it, because then the structure that gets held doesn't give you this really poofy look on your belly. So yeah, that one I would say again is another one that wasn't a success for me. Now, the final dress that I want to talk about, I've had many problems over the years trying to get the fit right on this. I've had an issue with Tilly and the Buttons patterns with shoulders and getting the fit right across them. And I think that the Lyra dress by Tilly and the Buttons is one of those that is supposed to fall over your shoulders, but I don't quite like that look. But earlier this year, Fabric Godmother released a gorgeous collection of animal print fabrics. And if you've been watching me for a long time, I've already said it. Anything animal print, I am a sucker for. So I decided to buy their viscose version, their viscose crepe version of their Ace fabric. And it is this gorgeous leopard print fabric. And I tell you what, this fabric is lovely to work with. It does like to move, but it just feels lovely. It washes really well. I absolutely love it. And I made an animal print Lyra dress. I did my normal, which has now become normal adjustment, where I do a size 4 across the shoulders, and then I grade out until you get to the end of the arm side to whatever size I'm making the pattern in. Now, with Tilly and the Buttons patterns, my sizing can vary. So with the jumpers, I can be a 6. With the trousers, I can be a 7. With my Freya, I'm a 7, but yet 9 times out of 10, I will make a 5 if it's an oversized pattern. And this is definitely falling in the realms of what is an oversized pattern. So this is the gorgeous Lyra dress. It's got some waist ties in that I've sewn into the sides, rather than having the belt, just to pull it in and give me a little bit of shape. This is another firm favourite of mine in my wardrobe that's got lots of wear. It's definitely a workwear piece, and that's why I wanted to highlight it as one of my favourites today, because I do like good workwear. I'm in the office a couple of times a week, but I do lots of events in colleges, in schools, and I always have to look my best and look smart, and this works. So I wanted to do the midi version, but because I didn't have enough fabric, it worked out as a knee length version, but I still managed to get the frill on the end. I used some Jazz and Wow black buttons on there, just some plain black buttons. For those of you that have my calendar, there was various different colours of these style buttons, and there was 4 in a pack, and it actually works perfectly on a Lyra dress. But yeah, I absolutely love it. So this is one of my favourites. This was also quite well received over on Instagram as well. But again, I think it might be the leopard print being trendy at the moment, and the fact that it's a Fabric Godmother fabric. I used one of my Cozy Club handmade labels, which I've learned to love this year. I've ordered a few from them this year. They're in a little Etsy seller, and being an Etsy seller myself, I am a fan. But she has some beautiful labels with some beautiful words and things on them, and the pictures are always really lovely. So if you're looking for labels, go and check out Cozy Club Handmade. So yeah, that is my Lyra dress, one of my favourites. Now, I want to talk about a staple, because let's face it, the dresses are all great and I wear them to work and I wear them out for date nights and what have you. But we do have staples, and I am a leggings girl. You can see today I do like to wear a pair of leggings, or I like to wear a pair of jeans. And when I'm not at work or when I'm working from home, I like to be comfortable, but I still like to be relatively smart up top. So I made, going into the winter, one of these. This is a pattern by Ellie and Mac, which is the Sarah wide sleeve sweater. There's lots of different variations to this, and I've made a couple, and they did feature in my compilation. This one is made again out of a Fabric Godmother, not one of their own brands, one of their dead stocks, recycled jacquard, I think it was called, in this gorgeous pink and red. Can't go wrong with pink and red. I sized down by 2 on this because it is an oversized pattern and I like a more fitted approach to it. This version here has an elasticated cuff with a mock neck. There are like bishop sleeves to this where you can have a nice big cuff to it. There is elasticated bottom to it. There's a hemband for the bottom. There's lots of different options on this. And this is the version I made. This is probably my most worn one. I think, again, because of the fabric, it's lovely, it's snuggly, it's a knit fabric, it's my colours. And I just wanted to show you one of my favourite staples. I also popped a little label on. I'm aware that's probably not going to show, but it says imperfectly perfect, and it's got pinks and oranges and flowers and stuff, and I thought it went really nicely on the outside of this. So this is probably one of my most worn jumpers of the year. I've worn every version that I've made a couple of times. I've made my mum a version of this for Christmas. It's a pattern that's going to become a tried and true, and I really wanted a new sweater pattern this year that I could try out because I had some favourites that I kept going to last year, like the Billy jumper from Tilly and the Buttons. This is one that I wanted to give a go and I fell in love with, and I think because of the variations they all look completely different. But yeah, definitely a tried and true in my wardrobe. Now, one of the other things that I wanted to talk about that I made quite a few of, but they're all away because they're in my summer wardrobe, and that is the Naivety by Tammy Handmade. Now, I'll pop in pictures of the ones that I've got. I noticed when I was pulling together my compilation, I didn't have my green one in there and I didn't have one of my other versions in there. But this was definitely a fixed firm favourite in the summer months in my wardrobe. And actually, as we came out of summer, because the UK weather's been really weird this year, it didn't get cold really until October. I continued to wear them right into September as well, with cardigans and things like that. So I just wanted to give a shout out in this and highlight that as being a firm favourite. Another firm favourite of mine this year was the SD set. Now, when you looked through my compilation, now they are all away because they were all summer makes, but I made loads. I made a couple of pairs of the shorts. I made a few pairs of the trousers. I made the top a number of times. It took me a while to get the fitting right on this, but this was definitely one that I came back to time and time again. I made one set for my birthday outfit that used the SD top but the Maeve skirt, which I absolutely loved. And I just wanted to give that a little bit of love because it was probably the most made pattern set this year. So that's why I'm highlighting it as the most made pattern set this year. The final pattern that I want to talk about, which was a new pattern that I hadn't made up from Tilly and the Buttons, is this gorgeous Bertha cardigan. Now, I made this in a Velboa fabric that I got from one of the places that we went to in Scotland when we went to Scottish Frock Tales. I want to say it was called, I don't know. I actually don't know. It was like lots of fabrics. This is made in a cow print Velboa because cow print's been in this year, and I contrasted it with black ribbing across the top, but kept this band at the bottom as a Velboa piece because I thought it was perfect. Now, this doesn't have a huge amount of stretch to it, and I did make this in a size 6. So when I originally made it, it wasn't fitting me very well, but I have lost a little bit of weight and it's now starting to fit me. So I'm quite looking forward to getting some wear out of this year because it's the one thing that I haven't really worn. But I'm going to because it's one of my favourites. So what else do I want to talk about? Okay, the final thing that I think I want to talk about is my biggest disaster of the year. and that is the Tilly and the Buttons Thea trousers. I'm going to pop a picture in here. I don't have them to hand because I haven't worn them. I made a couple of twirls to get the fitting right. I had to do a belly adjustment on there. I had to do all sorts to get it to where I wanted it to be. And I messed up the waistband. And because it took me so long to get there, the fit was really good in the end. But I hadn't caught the pocket in on one side, so it's got a slight tug from where I've had to sew it all in. And then the waistband, I took it off to redo, and it's just sat crumpled in a corner, and I haven't gone back to it, which is a real shame because I really like wide leg trousers. I thought this would be the perfect pattern for me. And actually I did this in place of another pattern on my Make 9. I was going to use the Peppermint Magazine wide leg trousers as a pattern to make up, but instead I used the Tilly and the Buttons Thea. Now, I'm not saying that I'm not going to revisit the pattern. I will certainly revisit, and I know that fitting is always the problem with the trousers, and I think that's going to be my issue, and that's what put me off and why I like a good elasticated waist. But yeah, that was by far my biggest disaster, which is a shame because I loved the fabric that I made it in. I really wanted these to work, and instead I now have a ready to wear pair of leopard print jeans. So it's lessons learned. So what have I tackled that's new this year? So I've tackled trousers. Trousers is definitely one thing that I tackled, and looking at fitting and adjustments and what needs to be done with them. I would also say this is a fairly new tackle for me this year. This has a zip up the front half zip. I've never made anything like this. It was reasonably simple to pull together, but it was one that for some reason, just because it had a zip fastening in it, it put me off. So I'm really pleased that I gave this a go. Another thing that I tackled this year was invisible zips. I tried that again. I'm still not 100% sure that it worked really well, and it's something that I really need to continue to work on. I made the Lockhart dress by Helen's Closet, and I was terrified about putting the zip in. I tried using zipper tape, which was recommended. I watched Rachel from Stitched Up, who is by far the best tutorial that I've seen yet for an invisible zipper. And I have watched a lot, but I really, really like Rachel's way of doing it. But I still just can't get it to be invisible. It just is one of those things. It's a talent that is not coming natural to me. So going into 2025, I would like to master the invisible zip. I would definitely like to make some more clothes that are definitely more form fitting. And I know that I can do that using elastic and using shearing methods. But I really would like to try a few more zipped garments. I would like to have another go at trousers. But yeah, these are the things I tackled. These are the things I'd like to try going into the new year. So I think that's it for my year in review. Let me know your thoughts on what your favourite things are that I have made this year. I'd love to hear from you. And if there's anything that you think that I've made that maybe hasn't been as nice as I've thought, let me know. Be kind, but let me know in the comments below, because it's always interesting to hear what you thought were your favourites and what you think aren't really for me. I'm going to pop in now just to sign off for 2024, a compilation of all of the things that I've got up to during 2024 with gorgeous sewing friends from the community, and you'll recognise a lot of the faces. I've shared a lot of these pictures throughout the year, and these are people that I've been to the Stitch Festival with, the Knitting and Stitching shows, Scottish Frock Tales, my Thurklow Sewing Weekenders, trips to Birmingham. There's lots of things that I've done across 2024, and these are the pictures of everybody that I've spent a bit of time with. So please enjoy this compilation, and thank you very much for supporting me for another year over on YouTube. Thank you for every video that you've watched, liked. Thank you for every coffee that has been bought for me. Thank you for all your support, love, messages that I've received either on here or over on Instagram. I really, really appreciate it. And I wish you all the best for 2025. Let me know what your goals are and what you want to do in 2025. I can't wait to hear from you. Take care, guys. Bye. you.